than wanting to learn after going to school for so long, I ended up feeling less like a desire to learn and more like an obligation. Because you have to go to school 5 days a week for 9 months a year and get information crammed into your head that really seems of little to no consequence after the fact because you never end up using it again. And the teachers, it never really felt like they were there to do anything other than supervise and get a paycheck. And let me tell you, that was very discouraging. Now, as this is what I experienced from preschool to 8th grade, you can assume that I wasn't expecting anything different from high school. I was expecting to go to school, hopefully barely slide by, and not get shoved into a garbage can like my teachers told me I would be. And that's exactly what I was going to do. But then one day, my mother told me about an alternative school with smaller learning environments and different types of teachers. And I was like, okay, I'm sure. And I brushed her off. But still for weeks, she would persist that this was a good idea for me. So after the many times of her trying to wear me down, the idea began to grow on me a bit. In fact, she drove me by the school building one day, because I had been wondering where it was at. And she said, "So, Zach, what do you think?" And I think my exact words were something to the effect of, "I feel like they're running a cult out of that place." Thankfully, we aren't well. You know, we do hold Mr. Martinez and his sweater vest in pretty high regard. I don't know, maybe there's something to that. Anyways, I digress. After a while, my mother made me take a tour of the facility, and I liked what I saw. So now I had a decision to make. Was I going to Bazama or Eagle Ridge? So I did what any sensible person would do, and I asked my peers and teachers what they thought. And they all told me exactly the same thing. It's horrible. You shouldn't go there. No way they'd ever let you in. They pick and choose their students, so they can only have the elite. So I made my decision. I wasn't going to go. But still, my mom was persistent. She seemed to know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this was the place I needed to be. So much so, in fact, she signed me up for a summer class without my consent. And honestly, that is one of the most important things she has ever done for me. Because at this class at Eagle Ridge, I got a taste of what the school was like. And after that, I decided it was the place for me. And honestly, I am so glad that I chose to go there, because within the first month of going to Eagle Ridge, I was invested in school again. I cared about my education. I had friends that seemed so much better than the friends I had before, because they had the same interest and drive that I did. And best of all, there were finally teachers that actually cared about me as a student and as a person. I was going to ask you guys to applaud anyways, but okay, thanks. So, the reason I told you that story is because I felt like you needed to have a little history on me when I give this little address that I'm about to give. And it is to the current and future students of Eagle Ridge, and it is just one message. Don't screw it up. But like seriously, this idea, this concept at a school that actually wants to help its students with teachers that are there to do more than just get a paycheck is unheard of. I know things have been going a little downhill as of late, but the only way to change that is for all of you to step up and help make the school as good as it can be. You can help make it as good as it was. No, you can help make it better than it was. Because I can guarantee you out there right now, even just in the Klamath Basin, there are students just like I was that want to actually learn again, that want to be invested in school and want to make a difference, like I did. But without a school like this, the odds of that happening are really slim. Because a school can take somebody like me, someone who was quiet and had little to no self-esteem, and can turn into a person who is still quiet but able and wanting to speak in front of hundreds of people. Make them care about their education, not just in but after high school, and help them grow creatively into somebody who actually wants to do things. Excuse me. And actually wants to do things and thinks that they can do things. Then I can assure you that it can do the same for so many other people. But in order for it to do that, it has to be back to at least the way it was before. Just something to think about. This might be the end of my speech, and this might be the end of the school year for so many of us dedicated students. But for so many of us, it is the beginning. The beginning of a better education, a better school, even a better life. But that's what Eagle Ridge can do for you, and that's what it did for me. I don't like goodbyes, so I'll just leave you with this, which is a statement I feel is much more appropriate for the occasion. Thank you. And as a great man once said, if nothing ever ended, how would anything ever get started? Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Zach Wilson. Have a nice day.
Great pleasure to follow us in this